Hello, my dear ones. Always an extreme pleasure to talk with you. I keep meeting you. I just met a lady from France. Beautiful, beautiful souls. This planet needs you guys so bad. Oh, no. So much suffering. It's not even funny. It's terrible out there. But things are getting a lot better. And there's a lot more of you guys out there that are awakening up spiritually and putting your hand out to others, growing. And that's what it's about. I mean, you can play the games of the Peyton Place or the Days of Our Lives, so to speak, General Hospital, those sort of, but that's what creation is. And then you make another one, and then you make another one, and pretty soon you've got a lot of worlds that are all fake that you're playing in. And a lot of you guys are waking up to the play. Oh, look, we're just playing. And when you do that, then you can give love to everyone, knowing that it's simply God expressing itself so it can come to know itself. You know, everything is simply God expressing itself in form. That's all life is God, it, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, the omnipresent, the omnipotent, the omniscient, whatever you wish to call it, expressing itself in form. When you see that, and you see that in others, that's when you're on your way to God consciousness. Look at this. Chemotherapy found to spread cancer throughout the body, warns scientists. You know, how is that? How does chemotherapy spread cancer throughout the body? Particularly if cancer is an illusionary concept, a theory produced by allopathy. Then when you pull the concept of disease out of this picture, and you go to chemistry, and you look at chemistry, and you say, you know, I don't understand chemistry too much. It's kind of complicated. But I understand two things. One, there's two sides to chemistry. And I'm beginning to learn what each side of chemistry can do to me. What is the effect of each side of chemistry on life? Right? Because we have to pull back. Instead of believing in fallacy and things that fly in from Moose Jaw, Alaska, we want to believe and have our life based upon actuality and fact, cause, and then you can observe the effect. So when you look at two sides of chemistry, the acid side of chemistry, and when you study chemistry, the word we use in chemistry is corrosive. It's corrosive. Pain producing. You know, do you ever feel, I feel tight and stiff? What side of chemistry causes that? Acids. Acids create a cationic environment, which is an environment of dehydration, since acids burn up electrolytes in an ionizing effect. And when acids dominate, you burn up your electrolytes, and then your body starts stealing them, and particularly the calcium, remember? And there's been plenty of universities talking about the calcium buffering system of the human body. If you're a medical doctor and you're open, it'll help answer a lot of questions that you have about varicose veins, spider veins. It would help the psychiatry department to understand that low calcium utilization equals depression. Therefore, correcting all this massive depression that exists on this planet wouldn't be done through toxic pharmaceuticals, which create suicidal and a lot of mass killings. So you always pull the chemistry, this hardness, this stiffness, agglomulation. You dry out, you dehydrate, just like when you're exercising and you're running, right? What does that create? Acids. as you're creating, this is lactic acid from muscle activity, all your respiration acids, all the acids from increased activity. What if you're not removing these acids, normal acids, out of your body from everyday just cells eating and pooping? Just like you, eating and pooping, eating and pooping. If you realize you have 100 trillion cells that comprise your body, or somewhere around that, and each one of them eat and poop, and you realize that each cell stands by itself with spaces around it. And when you tie in the fact that the human body, everything in the human body is comprised of cells, and that there are two major fluids that control the health and well-being of those cells, then you start to look at how things are done. Blood, kitchen, lymph, bathroom. So these spaces around cells, and every cell, including bone, has these interstitial spaces. And what's in those interstitial spaces? How do I get to my cells, and how do I feed them, and how do I clean them? How do I get rid of metabolitic or cellular wastes? And by the way, since we're talking about chemistry, what side of chemistry are your cellular wastes on? Your metabolitic wastes. Acids. And not all acids are converted like carbon dioxide into water. They must be eliminated either through the kidney channels or through the skin channels. The skin is more for gases and stuff, but still. So when you don't eliminate acids, what are you going to experience? So if you just assume this, if I don't eliminate my sewage from my cells, what is my house going to experience? First of all, the same thing your house does when your septic tank backs up at your house. Toxic gases, putrefactive material, proteins, and you start stinking. Because your sewage is backing up, and sewage is predominantly proteins and acids. So because a science or a modality, a health, allopathy is not a health modality, but let's just lump it in there, doesn't understand the basics of how the body works, the basics, not way out in Never Never Land, which you can't prove, basics that you can prove. If you don't understand the basics, you will never understand the levels you're talking about in terms of isolates and their effect upon tissues and how everything works at the nano level. There's no way no one could ever learn that or know that. It's okay for a brain feed. The problem is it brings you into pieces of life, because the mind only works in pieces, and you can never put the puzzle together because you don't have the picture. It's not like a jigsaw puzzle where the picture's on the box and you can go, yeah, this one might go here. You don't have the picture. Only one has the picture. And until you can get into your consciousness and get higher in your awareness, do you understand the picture. And those that do start to understand the picture more. That's all it is. And those that understand the picture more are simply those willing to quit playing the games. I'm tired of playing the games. It's like a child. Put a child in a room full of toys. There'll be a time he's done. Going to come out of the room, another room of toys. Yeah, I'm done with these toys. Let me go into another room of toys. And you can go from room to room to room, toys to toys to toys for lifetimes after lifetimes. There are many, though, that choose to wake up to have a higher and a grander experience. But going back to understanding the body and the each side of chemistry, you can basically judge all your experiences. You could from chemistry. All right? What side of chemistry makes me smile? That's the alkaline. It loves me. It's electrolytes. It hydrates me. It makes me moist. It moves me. Acids. Ow. Ooh. Ow. Ow. That hurt. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Stiff. Tight. Ouch. Oh. Ooh. Yeah. Hurt. Oh. Pain. Tumors. Yeah. Oh. That sort of thing. So, it's vital that man on this planet establish an understanding of the lymphatic system. Vital, vital, vital. And when you do, and you understand that the acids of the body have to be treated differently than the base, because base is predominant through the blood, acids are predominant through the lymph. Essential. When you start understanding the lipid-based system of the lymph, and it starts to explain more and how the fatty acids are absorbed in the lymphatic capillaries, not blood. And that goes to the gallbladder. The gallbladder is a lymphatic organ, not a blood. And so you start to see some, but you start to see more and more and understand the body a little more, how it's working. How it has to do the digestion, the absorption, the utilization, and then the elimination. These phases. Because I'm a cell waiting for energy and goodies, but I also go, oh, I got to eliminate my waste. I got to poop. Since I can't get up and move around as a cell without another cell coming and grabbing me, I'm pretty tied in there. Now, as acids build up around me as a cell in the liver, all right? And that happens when? When does the lymphatic system start backing up in people? When their kidneys stop filtering. I don't care what anybody, and anybody out there that doesn't believe that, you can just believe what you want. But for most of you, you get it, don't you? And for me, in 45 years, I get it. And that's why we're so successful. It's because we understand the causative factors of man's problems. And they're not diseases. Man creates all these effects that he's experiencing because he doesn't understand the nature of the foods and chemistry he's interacting with and the blowback that chemistry has in your body. Because if you look at this and you understand that foods either are an alkaline ash food, meaning an electrolyte dominant food, and when it's broken down, whether it's an acid lemon or an orange, its basic ash is going to be alkaline. That fools medical doctors a little bit. But your ash is a little bit different than your initial hit. So this ash determines, again, how your blood responds. So if you think that bicarbonate neutralizes all acids in digestion, you're gravely mistaken. Gravely mistaken. And you can see it initiated through the bloodstream. When you absorb too many proteins, your body is stealing calcium out of its little one-layer wall to fight this, to bring a chemical balance, because in this planet, on this planet, the chemical balance is to the alkaline side. It isn't 50-50. You know, the yin and the yang is 50-50. Think about this. If 50% of your experiences were bad and 50% of your experiences were good, you still wouldn't be a happy person. 50% bad versus 50% good still isn't acceptable to have an enjoyment in life. So it's pulled where the alkaline side dominates, essential because of the power the acid side has to destroy. And your kidneys and your skin are supposed to eliminate, breathe, sweat, pee with filtration, these acids out of the system. And if these acids are not removed out of the system through these skin or kidneys, they will then begin to be stored and backing up. This then initiates the word inflammation. Inflammation isn't a disease, it's your body's main immune response to acidosis. You can call it virals, you can call it proteins, you can call it whatever you want because they all fall into the same problem. Notice that those feel highly dealing with herpes. They don't come out until you're very acidic. These are proteins, and they thrive in acidic mediums and go dormant in alkaline mediums. You see that all the time. So you can judge every experience you have in your health concerns by the two sides of chemistry. Throw away medical dictionaries, because you'll find yourself going bananas and crazy over something that is a flawed theory. You must understand that everything is science. Everything rests upon energy, manifesting into chemistry, manifesting into form. And that's just the way it is. When you start to tear it down the opposite way, get rid of the form, break down the chemistry to the atoms, and then break down the atoms to the subatomic particles of electrons and protons and neutrons, and you keep going, you break all that down, you're at pure energy. You're at the door of pure energy. You bust an atom, you bust all these subatomic particles, they're all nothing but frequencies of electromagnetic energy. But that's how consciousness manifests, is through energy. Thought is an energetic experience. Consciousness is an extreme energetic experience. So if you're feeling pain, tightness, lumpy, everything. So go back to, I'm a cell in your liver, and the lymph system, my right kidney isn't filtering. I'm going to start getting my lymph system backing up. Now, I'm also a branch off of that GI tract. I'm a branch off the bowels and of the intestines. And when they back up, I'm backing up. I've got that too. So the response of the body to acidosis is lipids. Cholesterol, number one. Lipids. How many people out there have fatty tumors? Fatty livers? Fatty kidneys, fatty lungs, fatty this, fatty that. That's all because of lymph stagnation. Acid stagnation creates a lipid storm. And the lymph fluid, ooh, that's the lipidy. Mucousy. It's mucus. And notice that almost every problem man has mucus or obstructions somewhere in the game. And that mucus is part of your lymph system. And it is secreted when you consume chemistry that can harm the body. The body secretes mucus from your mucosa that lines everything. And you can have your body literally full of mucus. Sinus, head, pressure, glaucoma, that's all from the same stuff. So no matter what the diagnosis, and no matter what the idiocy of the chemistry that they claim is involved, and whether you have genetic methylation problems or this and this and this, you buy into these. They're at the end of their rope, and the only thing they can do is come up with these MF genes. And it's like, excuse me, you guys are getting yourself so far out there, you got to come back and get into some common sense. And realize simply that we live in the world of chemistry and physics, and that is including the very food that we eat. And when you don't understand the body through improper anatomy and physiology today, as Pat, if you've seen our A&P professor, is constantly growing and expanding, and they're always understanding something new, and a lot of times negating something old. So when I tell you about believing something, you get into believing things, the problem with that is they could be untrue, and you have spent your consciousness full of untrue things. So it's hard to believe anything. Just be in the now and let it just be. But notice that you have to understand that no matter what problem you write me here with, it's always going to be acidosis, and it's always going to have the lymphatic system, because the blood system, if you're eating a diet designed for the Homo sapien vertebrae, you're going to be number 1, fruits, number 2, berries, number 3, melons, and number 4, vegetables. The vegetables are not designed for us. Notice that when you go on a fruit diet, you got some good, really tasty fruit, you don't really want to go to that salad. You want to really stay on those fruits. But you can do salads. But just take a look at the herbivores and the incredibly different design of a herbivore over a Homo sapien. Hugely different. Almost more so than an omnivore. That's why a lot of the scientists tended to think we're more like hogs and crap like that, when really we're 97% the same genetics as primates. So the Homo sapien is only 3% genetically different than the primate family. That would put us up as frugivores and very powerful beings if we would just get away from eating dead stuff, crap acids, proteins, meats, crap like that, milks, putrefactive materials, stuff like that. The neon chemistry that lights in the dark. These kids eating all this neon candy and crap like that and drinking all these electric drinks. I mean, it's not fun when chemistry starts waking you up and going, I'm in trouble. So understand that even when you're dealing in their word cancer, it is a damaged cell. So if you have a tumor wrapped around anything, so how would I get a tumor? Let's say I'm a cell in the liver, and this lymph system's backing up and backing up and backing up. Well, I'm going to get edemic. I'm going to have water coming in to try, because remember, what is water? The universal solvent. So water's going to come in, edema. It's going to come in to help break up things. Hey, I'm going to come in and see if I can help this situation. The problem is that it's a highly acidic situation, and any electrolytes are readily burned up, and so you maintain this edemic stance. And then you've got cholesterol and calcium being pulled and everything trying to fight acidosis when you have stagnation. When you don't have stagnation, who takes care of the acids in your body? Your lymph nodes, right? Now, who, and I'll say who, in your lymph nodes take care of your systemic or cellular or metabolitic acids? Bacterium. So when some medical doctor gives you an antibiotic because they're blaming bacteria for cleaning you up, they don't recognize that's the process going on here, because most people's sewer systems are backed up, so you're a host for the bacterium community simply because you've created this. And you can't bitch about it, you have to understand it. And so by taking antibiotics, you kill lymph node bacterium. Oh, so now I've got 3 pH acids coming out of the cells, out of the houses, going to the septic tanks, the lymph nodes. Oh, and you just killed my bacteria in my lymph nodes, so now I have 3 pH acids that if I hit my kidneys with 3 pH, I'm on my knees. I have major UTI, major cystitis, whichever organ or gland this is backed up in. It can be anywhere. Anywhere you feel pain, in the bones, anywhere, everywhere. Because this is a systemic problem now. It is a problem. Oh, I've got a breast tumor. You've got more than that. This whole side is backed up. That's why the hot spots. So when they give you an acid that's hotter than the acids that are burning the cells, does that sound logical? And does that sound a little criminal? If I gave you Drano, would I go to jail for your manslaughter or your death? And that's what they're doing. They're giving everybody Drano. Open them right up and giving them Drano. What in the hell happened to man? And especially a learned modality who is off balance and going nuts, giving little 3-day-old babies loaded vaccine shots. These people need to go to jail. You send a few of these people for jail for hurting our babies, that'd stop that real quick. It's just a mess out there, guys. And we have to stand tall and knowing and powerful and together as one. 11-11, remember? Because as one, we're more powerful That's how they win. They divide and conquer. Well, we're going to pull everybody together and create a very powerful modality that you can prove every way you look at it. Every way you look at our level of detoxification, it is full of truth. Anybody that doesn't has no clue to what detoxification is. I've had 45 years in there. Anybody have it longer out there? And if you do, boom. And I've worked with tens of thousands of people worldwide all these years. And I worked with Jensen's clients as well. The last many years that Jensen couldn't see anybody, sent them all to me. So you just have to understand that we've seen years of working with people, and understanding comes out of that. We're not perfect, but we're pretty good. And a lot of you guys are really good. I'm telling you, I'm so proud of so many of you. Jonathan in Canada, all of you guys, I'm really proud of you guys. You've done well. When you understand the simplicity of the whole thing, then what becomes scary is the jurisdiction they claim over your kids. And you're seeing more and more parents calling us in serious trouble with their children because they were diagnosed with leukemia or something that they can, oh, now we can saturate you with chemo. I mean, this is an epidemic of very serious problem that we're facing in our healthcare. Very, very serious problems. More serious than most humans even understand. The degree that this negativity has infiltrated human consciousness. So it's important that we stand tall and establish a legitimate and scientifically based modality, which we are. Fun stuff. Because if you think about it, the more we can get these levels of consciousness up there that man can experience, it will improve the human condition, because man now will find remedy where man had not had remedy before. Both spiritually, because generally in the spiritual works, you're chasing metaphysics and you're chasing more the intellectual side of spirituality as opposed to the consciousness side. The consciousness side of spirituality is a thin razor's edge between consciousness and thought. And once you learn that thin edge, the difference between being aware, awake, and pure thought, it's subtle. So the reason I'm going over this is to understand a lot of your questions, whether it's skin problems, whether it's cancer, tumor problems, whether it's fibromyalgia type systemic acidosis problems. I'm going to come out with a chart to show you the medical name of something and what's really going on. And I think that'll be very helpful to everybody to understand when they say fibromyalgia, what does that really mean? What is your problem? You don't have a lifetime of pain and steroids and that crap. You understand what your problem is and you fix it and you're done. Call it cure, call it whatever you want. You just fixed your problem. Because now you understand that the problems that the AMA puts out is ludicrous. It's insanity. These do not exist. And forever chasing rainbows. How many people out there have lupus, Lyme? Everybody has Lyme's, of course. Or fibromyalgia. And how many years have you been treating it and going on with it? Yeah, I just had an interview with a beautiful young lady in France for a French magazine. And she had a lot of skin problems at one time and now cleaned up and clear. And I've showed you Miss Philippines and Shane showed you a lady he worked on, I think, in Dubai. But when you understand that our problems come from the wrong side of chemistry and that we've been eating on that wrong side of chemistry, that foods we're eating are acid ash forming foods. So think about this. All these acid ash forming foods means that the food has a predominantly acid effect on the body. Add that then to your metabolitic waste, your waste from the cells, which are acids, All the activity of movement, which is lactic and all the other increased acids from phosphoric and carbonic and all of those, added fungus in the body with uric acid, and then high protein eaters are getting uric acid from that. So all these acids in the body, if they're not removed, everything you see in this world is based on that. Look at the effect of acidosis on the body. Pain, swelling, decay of the cell, tumors, the damage of any tissue out there. And you could, I mean, anything you see like that, you could just keep on going. Any genetic weakness, because how do you get a genetic weakness? How do you weaken? I'm a cell in your liver. How are you going to weaken me? I've got spaces around me, but I got other cells around me too. How are you going to get to me to weaken me or my buddies? Through the blood or lymph. There's only the two ways. Take your pick. It is not a rocket scientist. That's why you young folks out there learn this. You'll be so far ahead of the game on this planet. You will know how to protect yourself and become streetwise in a world that doesn't know how to eat properly and that fights this idiocy of diseases, when in fact they have the total power to fix their body anytime they wake up to do it. But it does require change. You cannot expect to be healthy and dynamic and vital eating the same chemistry that brought you down. So you have to make some changes. But make change in your life a positive thing, because your life is nothing but change. Nothing in creation stays the same. There's nothing that's static. Even a pond, a lake that has lost its in and out, it looks static, but life is fungus, algae growing all over it, that sort of thing. Life is always going on, growing, manifesting out of whatever it can manifest out of. Weeds in the garden syndrome. So know that when you have a problem, the first order of business is to change your diet to match the fact that you're a frugivore, that you're a primate-based body. You're not, you're a conscious being, but you're in a world with a primate-based body. These are frugivores. These species we're the highest species on the planet physically and supposed to be neurologically, but some don't act it. So as much as that might be hard for people to hear, medical doctors think we're more like hogs. That's because you can get by with experimenting on omnivores a little more than you can on frugivores. The experiment on primates is looked down on quite a bit, although these poor beings. And what for? Why do we need to experiment for it all? We already have the answers to health and vitality, so what other answers do we need in life? How do we find out who we are, really? How do we find out where we really come from? How do we find out if this world is really real or it's an illusion? And how come we're having out-of-body experiences? If out-of-body experiences are real, which a lot of you have had them, that doesn't make this world very real, does it? If I can just leave this world and go to another one, well, how does that make your body in this world? It makes it a vehicle for you to experience life at this level, like it or not. A good, nice car, good motor in it, everything clean and good, running, no obstructions. You have a fun time and a great time. Those that don't, suffer. And the sad thing is, most of you young guys and gals, I feel my heart goes out to you immensely. I see you in here all the time, and the genetics. How do you get it? How do you weaken me as a cell in the liver? You only have blood around me and lymph around me. All right? Blood is alkaline. By the time I'm going to get it, it should be as alkaline as possible, or, my whole body's not doing well. So the blood isn't hurting me, unless it's not getting to me because there's an obstruction, a swelling. But wait a minute, swellings come under the acid side, and acids are not in the blood. The blood deals with more the basic, so we're really dealing more in the lymphatic system. Oh, that's the lipid. That's why I'm a fatty why I'm a fatty liver. Oh, I see I'm swelling more and more. The sewage is backing up. All my buddies, they can't poop in. Everybody's sewage is back. Now I'm in a tumor. Now, as a cell, I'm wrapped around a tumor. The body has isolated me off because of all this acids are burning down, because I'm a little weak genetically. The strong cells do really well, but the weaker cells, bye-bye. Bye-bye. So my liver is being protected by a tumor because it's isolated this area of acid slurry out. Now, I've been on antibiotics, so oops, lymph nodes are done. I mean, how can I can't. That's why I'm a tumor. That flow is gone. I can't move my sewage out. There's a blockage. My lymph node is swollen and hard, or my kidneys aren't filtering, or both. And so I can't so I'm going to keep becoming a tumor, and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, as long as in this tumor, as long as this sewage, these acids are on the outside of me as a cell, I'm going to be a benign tumor. Generally, those are growing on the outside of tissues. But eventually, I'm going to go. That's what all the tumor, all these acids, acid slurry in the tumors are going to chew me right up. Oh, and I'm going to have somebody take a needle biopsy just to see if there's a cell in there that's been damaged. I guarantee it. And if there isn't, so what? It's the same problem. They're just using that to treat you with chemotherapy and get by with it legally. I think. There's no need to biopsy a tumor whatsoever. And when you do, and you open that doorway, and almost every surgeon that's done it can explain to you, it explodes your problem. Now you've opened what the body has closed. And then in the ladies, they love to put these little metal clips in there. Oh, we're going to be back for sure because we're the only ones. And then that creates inflammation. So it's just like, oh my God. Everywhere you turn, the ignorance is astronomical. But you don't want to be that way. You want to learn just what we're talking about right now. And what forms the cysts and the tumors, or the boils and the pimples, same stuff. Same stuff, a little bigger, but same stuff. Same acid stuff. And if you don't, what happens? It can scar your face, can't it? Why? Acid, scar. Cystic fibrosis, acid scar. What side of chemistry are all these diseases that the medical doctors claim that exist, which don't? What side of chemistry are they on? Very few alkalosis cases. There is alkalosis, no question about it. That is too much alkaline, but it doesn't have the corrosive and the nature that acids do. You'll maybe pass out and go into a coma with alkalosis, but at least you can come out of that. It's just enough to say that acids are the side of chemistry that's the major problem. And you have to be aware of that and fix that. I didn't want to do Q&A because I wanted to get this up and just talk with you, but there's a question right in front of me that I wanted to answer. And it says, Dear Dr. Morse, my son has a friend who is on dialysis and needs a kidney. Notice how much is involved there? How many people have kidney problems? Almost every one of you do, whether you're aware of it or not. Once you get your kidneys filtering, you're well on your way to regenerating that kidney. You're eating the alkaline chemistry that does it, the regenerative side of chemistry. You're getting away from acidosis, you're getting filtration, you're opening up your lymphatic system and hydrating your body, and that as well. When you're talking about hydrating your body, what are you talking about? You have cells and fluids. What are you hydrating? Fluids. So you have to understand to keep going back to the body, cells and the two fluids that take care of them. Water comes in as the universal solvent. What can I come in here and help? So understanding acidosis and how the body responds to that will show you about a list of diseases that long. And it's simply your body's response to acidosis. Just location, location, location. So when you have chemotherapy dispersed to you, you've just now increased acidosis. Same with radiation. You've just now increased your battle against acidosis and acids. But the problem is hotter acids now than you've been battling. Hotter acids. 2 or less pH instead of 3 pH. That's 10 times hotter. And in some cases up to 50 times hotter. You see why the percentage of success isn't there? And that those that survive this are friggin' lucky, and then of course down the road they get the blowbacks and half of them die. Just important, and our group become awake and we don't fall into some of these traps, and that we help mankind to understand they've been in a big trap, and we're opening all the trap doors now. Come out of the trap. So he still hasn't found a match. So when you have somebody give up a kidney, and this is vital for everybody to understand, each kidney you have, unless you were thrown in a third one, some do, but each can, and even sometimes that third kidney is vital. Each kidney you have is vital to you. Vital to you. This emotional, oh, I saved this guy by giving him a kidney, you got to realize that's what they use to bring down the human race. You can repair and rebuild your kidneys. You don't need to steal someone else's kidney. Because remember, each kidney controls lymph drainage from each side of the body. Which kidney are you going to give up? That means that side of your body is prone now for tumors and decay and atrophy and everything else, because you've lost your eliminative channel on that side. I've had them come into my office with legs like elephant legs from the removal of kidneys. You can't remove the sewer system or any part of it without serious consequences. Now we're seeing with all the tonsil removals, all the serious tumors and crap around the head and throat area. This is serious stuff. Before it was, oh, we'll just remove them and I'll take care of them, you're good. And look, we really are great people for doing it for you. Well, what that did was put a whole world of humans into serious troubles. And now we have to work out of that, and we can. Thank God that we have two sides of chemistry, and we can go to the other side and go, I'm home again. I love you. You don't hurt me. And that's the base side of chemistry. And the foods that you want to eat is base or alkaline ash forming foods. Those are predominantly fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables. Basically almost everything else is acid ash. Except milks. But if they're pasteurized, of course they're acid ash. But milks are not in the order of things. After age 2, and for me, what I see now with the babies, age 1. Because now the lymph systems are already in serious trouble. So, my son offered to give him one of his, but they didn't match. Thank God to your son. Either. What can be done for him? Regeneration of his friggin' kidney. Go after that. Acids do not regenerate anything. You give your son, and this is the vomitous thing about this. And even naturopaths around the world have fallen into this trap. This boy needs high protein. That'll make him lose his kidneys 1,000 times faster. That's the reason we lost our kidneys, is the protein side of life. It's been the biggest lie perpetrated ever, is protein. Look at the serious trouble athletes get into that pump high protein diets. If you're a football player and you've got stamina and you've got true vitality, you're not going to retire in your 30s or early 40s. Because you can take a licking and keep on ticking. And it's just about regeneration. And the body does it naturally when you eat properly. Your body's always cleaning and repairing itself naturally. But when you eat acid ash foods, you're in the corrosive side of chemistry now. You've moved yourself from the healing health side to the corrosive breakdown side, the pain, the swelling. No matter what label you put on that, no matter whether it's a viral environment, which is a protein, look up viruses, proteins, and there's only one way to be successful, because all the herpes that are out there right now, there's only one way to be successful, and that is detoxification. It isn't our word, it's nature's word. And detoxification is the hydration and the rebuilding and filtration of the kidneys, the rebuilding of the gut, all these things, the fixing of the 4 phases of our chemical factory, our chemical processing factory known as the human body: digestion, absorption, utilization, adrenals and parathyroid, and then proper elimination, metabolytic, kidneys, skin, or any other hole is going to be used. So my word, and this is from Natalie, you get that young man to rebuild his kidney. You've got herbs and you've got diet, foods that are alkaline, which rebuild. So you've got those 2 things that are essential to going after this young man. And I would go after the adrenal glands on top, since that is essential to proper kidney performance and proper lymphatic performance. So you've got at least 3 things, and I would be I'd go after this young man full bore. Because taking somebody else's kidney isn't what you think it is. And when you give up one kidney that controls the lymph system on one side of your body, what did that one side of your body going to do now? Serious complications can take place here. It isn't candy. And if you want to save this young man's life, then he needs to learn how to get his whole body well. Because if his kidneys are down, what else is down in him? His lymphatic system, majorly. And they don't know how to look at the eyes. They always boo-hoo anything they don't understand. Of course, that's a natural way of them. But looking at his eye would be an excellent thing, because just because his creatinine might be soaring the moon doesn't mean he has a decayed kidney. You know, he might not have a decayed kidney. He might have a fairly healthy kidney. Even if it has decay, you can rebuild these kidneys all the way down to 10% function. Of course you can. And that's what this is about. To have fun and rebuild each other and help us to get healthy bodies again. You young people are too young to go through these things like this. So I love you guys. And I got this picture. This is a man I met in Disney World. I hope he's doing well. He was dealing with leukemia, spleen and bone marrow. You've got to go in and make these tissues healthy again. Well, how do you make tissues healthy again? Well, let's say I want to make my liver healthy. All right? What's my liver? A bunch of cells. Oh, and the cells have spaces in between them, and those spaces are what? Full of blood and lymph. And so how do I get to them? I got to go through the blood, but I got to get that lymph hydrated. I got to get that fatty stuff out of there. I got to get the acids out of there before it breaks down and I'm diagnosed with hepatitis or something like that. So I got to go to my kidneys. I've got to get my kidneys filtering. I need to see sewage in my kidneys. I need to see sewage in my kidneys. Someone was asking me, but I think we've got it to you now. Small print here, but this is the university in Canada that discovered the importance of neurological diabetes. And Toronto scientists, cure disease in mice. Toronto scientists, this was in the National Post. Tom Blackwell. It says, in a discovery that has stunned even those behind it, scientists at a Toronto hospital say they have proof the body's nervous system helps trigger diabetes. You know, this is the sort of science and research you want. This was, to me, a Nobel Peace Prize. Toronto Hospital, congratulations. This is a Nobel Peace Prize right here. Because what it does for the rest of the world that is concerned about regeneration, that we're not just going to the pancreas and going after the islets or the beta cells, we're going after the nervous system that controls that. I'm a little upset I didn't think of that myself, because I try to think about everything and how everything works. But you can apply that neurological weakness to everything. And which system would it be? It would be the autonomic, right? Right. The solar plexus and stomach is the brain. The adrenals are the neurotransmitters. And goes right up into the communication, back of the cerebellum, right into the central nervous system. And picks up the optic nerves. Everything is geared to that. So when the adrenals are down, what else goes down with them? Utilization of chemistry, sexual issues, utilization of chemistry, your steroids, your anti-inflammatories, your neurotransmitters for your autonomic nervous system. So your blood pressure either goes low because of a weakness or because of pressure in the kidneys, they go high. Remember, when you have your blood pressure taken, top number systolic, adrenal glands, cardiac punch, right? Bottom number, diastolic. What does that represent? Kidney function. Anything below 50, you got serious, or 55, you got serious kidney weakness. Anything above, say, 70, you've got inflammation. You've got acidosis going on, swelling. And that's easy to fix. All that's easy to fix. And how many people have been on high blood pressure medication all their lives? Everything is fixable when you simply understand what side of chemistry man has been living on. The wrong side. Simply get on the other side. Start eating foods that are electrical and chemical both. Eating dead cooked foods serves no reason. Everybody's bitching about having no energy, and yet they're eating everything cooked. There's no energy in anything cooked. You just dissipated the electromagnetic energy out of it. So you have no energetic hit with you. That's why living food, that's why when you bump up on your vegetables, wow. And then you bump up even higher on your fruit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Fun stuff. Yeah, it's self-discipline required. Maybe that we should stamp that on our website. Boom, self-discipline required. But, listen, a little self-discipline brings you into consciousness. Because somebody's got to control yourself. Who's going to do it? If you can't control yourself, who is? And a lot of you are controlled by everybody else but yourself. And I'd be taking that back if I was you. Because it don't matter. Who cares what anybody thinks out here? You can't have others take you on your journey, because you'll be back on the journey until you learn how to take your own journey. It's the way of the creation. Each and every one of you are responsible for your own actions and your own journey, no matter who you pull with you. Maybe you have a great love, male or female, children, doesn't matter. You're on this journey alone. You're just interfacing with other created manifestations of God. Remember, creation is nothing more than God manifesting in form. And with that, I love you all dearly. Oh, incredible. Our dear athlete. Isn't that incredible? If anybody's proving this, the athlete's proving this, how you can be an athlete on Raw. I'm saying, how can you not be? Because you have so much energy, you have so much endurance. You see her video? Yeah. That's the future of man. Right there. And you guys are the future.